10.1. Okay, this whole chapter, chapter 10, is on quadratics, solving quadratic equations. Okay, the first lesson, and you'll notice most of the lessons, whenever you introduce a new function, we usually graph that function first. So obviously 10.1 and 10.2 is on graphing these quadratic functions. Okay? So what we're going to be dealing with today is graphing a quadratic function in this form, y equals ax squared, and the form of y equals ax squared plus c. Okay? Tomorrow's lesson in 10.2 will be taking that and expanding that to y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So it's going to be even more involved. Okay? So make sure you have your graph paper for your homework tonight. Now, what does a quadratic function look like? Well, I already told you that it looks something like this. But this is in standard form. This is what it looks like in standard form. Okay? Notice that in order for it to be a quadratic, class, this term here has to be a square. In order for it to be a quadratic function, this highest degree has to be a square. Okay? So that obviously makes this a quadratic. That's a quadratic, that makes it a quadratic, and that makes it a quadratic. Okay? So those are all called quadratic functions. Alright, now, what does a quadratic function look like? Well, it's a nonlinear function, so therefore it's not a what? The graph is not a what? It's not a line, right? Okay? It's not going to be a curve. It's not going to be an exponential function. It's not going to be the graph of a curve. What the graph of every quadratic function is a parabola. So let's put that down in our notes. So the graph of every quadratic function is what we call a parabola. P-A-R-A-B-O-L-A. Okay, it's called a parabola. What does the shape look like? Well, a parabola is a U-shaped graph. Exactly. It's a U-shaped graph. Okay? Now, a parabola can either open up or it can open down. So let's write that down. Okay, a parabola can open up or down. Now, how do you know whether it opens up or down? Here's the key. The A is the key. Okay? Whatever A is determines whether the parabola opens up or down. Here it is. If the value of A is greater than 0, which means what, class?
Open up.
Positive values, right. So if A is positive, it opens up. Okay? On that same notion, if A is what? Negative. Less than 0 or negative, what do you think the parabola now does? It opens what? It opens down, exactly. So if, depending on, whoops, I'm sorry, opens up, it should be opens down. Okay? So again, opens up looks like this, opens down looks like that. Okay?
Like a smiley face or a sad face?
Yeah, kind of like this. Yep, yep.
I'm gonna make
So if A is positive, it opens up. If A is negative, the parabola then would open down. Does that make sense, class?
Yeah.
Whether it opens up or down. Perfect. Okay? The graph of every quadratic equation is a what again? What's it called? A parabola. Exactly. Okay? Now, you may think, well, okay, I know it's a U-shaped graph, but what else can I find out about what a parabola, what are the parts of a parabola? And that's what we're going to talk about next. The parts of a parabola. So we'll head over here and talk about parts of a parabola.